nice space.
Thank you. Can you show me around?
Sure. So yeah, it's pretty small and compact, obviously, as you can tell. But I basically have my cutting area over here, where I cut all my fabrics and stuff like that, and trim things. And then I've got my sewing machine, of course, and do my sewing there. And then I've got my little utilities and things like that over here and over there. And that just has all of my like little pieces of my kit per se, like pins and stuff like that, screwdrivers, little scissors.
What's the screwdriver for?
The screwdriver's for taking my needle off and then taking my presser foot holder off sometimes when I need to change that out.
Okay.
Yeah, so then I've also got my threads and stuff over here, and then I've got my light so I can see, and that's pretty much the space. And then, did you want to see my fabrics?
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Okay, cool. So this is the organized area of fabrics. This is the cat. This stuff's pretty organized.
Wow.
Yeah, so most of the stuff I find at the bins or from, materials that are going to be recycled or thrown away. Yeah, or just like cut from clothing sometimes too.
That's really cool. Do you have a favorite piece of fabric right now?
This one's kind of fun. I definitely bought this. This is my favorite my favorite purchase fabric
so
recently.
Cool.
So I did buy that one at a fabric store.
Nice.
So I don't know if that counts, but my favorite non-purchase fabric right now, I think, is this, which I got at the bins, the Goodwill bins.
Wow.
And it's this kind of nice, thick, floral canvas.
That's so cool.
Which I'm excited
That's
to
really
use.
pretty.
Yeah, I thought so too.
That's great.
Yeah. And then we can see the disorganized mess of fabric over here too. So we won't look at that for too long.
Well,
That's
it's
a
already
mess.
it's in a drawer, so it's kind of organized.
Yeah, it's a hidden mess. Yeah.
So you said you get your fabric at the bins. Where else do you typically find fabric?
Yeah, so I get stuff at the bins, sometimes at Savers and Goodwill, and then sometimes I'll get stuff from the recycling bin at Geartrade too.
Oh, nice. What's your favorite find you've gotten at the Geartrade recycle bin?
I think probably this piece of canvas that I got recently. It's from a ski bag that I cut open, and it's just a really tattered sort of beautiful piece of cotton canvas from a ski bag. So it's got all this cool like weathering, which I think is really nice, and then it's got this nice vintage screen printing logo on it.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
It has so much character.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
Yeah.
I think that's what I kind of look for in a lot of the materials that I like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. How did you get into sewing?
I got into sewing through a friend whose mom was a seamstress, and so she was really good at sewing, and was nice enough to teach me how to do some basic stuff. So yeah, that kind of got me started, and then I started working on little projects on her sewing machine before I bought my own machine and started making stuff on my own.
That's great.
Yeah.
What's been the hardest part of learning to sew and going through all the projects that you've done so far?
I think for me it's been being a little bit too much of a perfectionist and sort of a technician, I guess you could say. I really like getting things like perfect, quote unquote, and making them like technically kind of flawless as best I can, or at least sort of striving to that.
Yeah. What are you most excited to make next?
I'm really excited for this. I think my plan so far is to try and make a tote with it, using just this fabric and then something as a liner and some straps.
Yeah.
So I think that'll be really cool. I think it'll be interesting to try and incorporate this screen print into it somehow.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, so I'm pretty excited about that. That's kind of, where I'm heading right now,
That's
besides
great.
some other little side projects.
Yeah. What are you most proud of that you've made so far?
I think I made a tote recently that was, I thought was really cool. And I made that using some, like an old duffel bag for a tint
Oh, cool.
that I repurposed. And it had all this cool kind of, sort of like messy characteristic like this, just kind of stained and scuffed up, which again I think is pretty fun. So I was able to turn that into a tote, which I sold, and I think somebody's really happy with.
That's
so.
great. What are you the most hesitant to start, and why?
When I reference my note, I forget what I said. Hold on. Sorry to break up the flow. I had a hard time thinking of something. Okay. Yeah, I think what I'm most hesitant about, I don't know, I'm not really that hesitant about starting projects. I think
No?
it's kind of fun, like, diving into stuff. But yeah, I do want to try and merge, like some quilting projects that I've been doing with these more functional sort of things, like making bags. So that's sort of something that I want to work towards and do, but I'm just not sure what my approach is going to be for that just yet.
So you're making the quilts and then also making an item out of the quilt.
Yeah, that was
Ideally.
that's one idea. Or like taking stuff like this and then using the natural sort of textures
Yes.
to make, differentiations in the little pieces of the quilt, and then stitching those together and making a sort of quilted item.
Yeah, that would
Yeah.
look amazing. That'd be so fun.
I think so too. I'm excited about it.
Yeah. What on this desk is the most useful piece of equipment you have besides the sewing machine?
That's easy. It's definitely this rotary cutter.
Why is that?
'Cause when I first started sewing, I didn't know that rotary cutters existed, and so I would just like draw a line on the fabric, and then I would sit here like this and cut all of my fabric out, and it took forever to do.
Really?
Yeah, and then so I eventually learned that rotary cutters exist, and then I started using this, and it's made things like 80 times faster.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty
Oh,
great.
yeah. Well, thank you
Yeah.
for showing me around. Can we find your work anywhere?
Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram. Thanks for coming by.